Okay, so we always have those things in life where you kind of cross thresholds and there's kind of a before and after, and once you've crossed that certain threshold, you're never quite the same again. You know, there's certain adolescent things you have to go through, and if you're making money on a production, getting a production monitor with you on set is a threshold that once you cross it, it's going to be almost impossible to go back. And today what I want to do is I want to take a look here at one of my all-time favorite companies, OC, and the incredible value they bring you with director's monitors. And what I love about these production monitors is they are incredibly price friendly compared to what you get. And this is something that's going to live with you for a long time. And what I love about it is I can show up on a production with a Komodo, I can show up with the Arri Alexa, I can show up with the Sony FX3, I can show up with a Canon R5. It doesn't matter. This tool I can use on every single one of those productions. So it's one of those investments that's a legacy investment that you will have for years. And every time you bring it on a set, it's going to make your life better. So let's go ahead and take a look here at this one, because this is the OC Mega22S. Now this OC Mega22S is a 21.5 inch HDR and it's a 1500 nit production monitor. So this thing is obviously very big and it is very bright. And there's a lot of benefits to having both of those things on set. It gives you a better sense of what you're shooting and lets you see more realistically what that final product's gonna be. The other thing that I find is having a big screen like this, it just lets you see things so much more detailed. It corrects a ton of mistakes that you might miss on a little 5.5 inch Atomus that you have on the top of your camera. The other thing is that when you start making money with your camera, more than just you needs to see what's going on with the screen at any given time. Having a production monitor like this means that you can have clients come, they can see what you're doing. You can have your producers, you can have sometimes other actors want to see what's going on. Sometimes you can follow focus off something like this. Having something like this is just an absolutely essential tool to actually have a smooth run production. If you have a set designer, you want the set designer to be able to look on here and see exactly what this sees, because as I always say, the camera never lies. And this lets everyone on your team see exactly what's going on. So because of all those aspects, production monitors really are irreplaceable on a set. Now to start off, this is a 21.5 inch screen. So it has got basically a 22 inch screen, and this thing is very big. This thing is super bright. It has 1500 nits, which makes it more than bright enough if you're outside shooting in really harsh environments. You know you can shoot this outside in the bright situations. It has an 1100:1 contrast ratio, and it all comes in here at a 1920 by 1080 full HD resolution. So plenty sharp for you to pull focus off of and know exactly what you're shooting when you're out there in the field. Now another aspect about this that I really like, I'm just gonna turn it around right here, is looking at the I/O output. Now this is really nice in the fact that it comes with a lot of really good inputs. If you look on the back here, it actually has two 3G, HD, SD, SDI inputs and outputs on each side. So this is really nice in the fact that you can get this both an SDI in and it's got the SDI out. It has a 4K at up to 30 frames per second HDMI input, and it has a USB-C port here for self-color calibration. Now there's also a USB slot here. I'm gonna turn around in the front, and if you look here in the front, and this is really good for if you want to have your own LUTs, you can input your own LUTs here through that port in the front. So this thing comes loaded with a lot of I/O ports, which is really gonna be something you want when you're using this to have the flexibility to go between really high-end productions or more run and gun production. Now I do wanna have one note on resolution on this monitor, and even though this thing does have a 4K HDMI input, this is a 1920 by 1080 monitor, which is awesome. That is honestly more than enough to work with when you're on a set in a production monitor situation. But there are gonna be some people out there that will worry about the fact that this is not a true 4K monitor. But here's the thing, that's really something that I really haven't had any issue with ever on a practical set. And there's a couple reasons for that. One, on a set, on a 22 inch monitor, 1080 is going to be very sharp and more than enough to pull focus, get critical things, and know exactly what you want on a monitor. The other reason is this, even though you are shooting in 4K, you're almost definitely going to be guaranteed that your wireless system, which is how you'll usually use this, is not transmitting a 4K signal. I mean, I would say that 99% of the users of a monitor like this don't even have transmitters that are capable of actually sending a 4K signal. Because once you get to that point, you start really needing like 12G SDIs and all that stuff. And most of us just don't use systems like that unless we're working on the top end Hollywood productions. And this is a really, really affordable monitor that's designed for indie productions and commercial work. And in addition to that, this thing has one other really cool aspect, and that is its signal power. Now, you can either do a 422 10-bit, 422 12-bit, 444 10-bit, and 444 12-bit signal. So this is a really, really nice combination, because remember I told you on the back there's this USB-C that lets you color calibrate this monitor. So once you take the color calibration monitor of this and that huge 12-bit option, this could actually become a very, very accurate production monitor or even a DIT station, and it's going to come in at a fraction of the cost you would normally need to spend. And I think that's something you need to talk about when you're looking at a monitor like this, is the cost. These things tend to come in at half to sometimes quarter the cost of some of the more expensive monitors that you'll get for this size and this kind of form function. It's one of those things that for $13.39, that is an investment, but this is something that I think if you get something like this, it's going to last you for easily a decade, and you're going to take it on so many sets. It's independent of your camera system, it's independent of whatever you have. This just lives with you and can go in any kind of environment that you go on a set, which makes it a fantastic value. And if you have clients that are paying you money, this is one of those things that's gonna make them super happy to be able to see. Now, in addition to the color, you do have to talk about the power. I'm gonna go and turn this around just so you can see, because I did point this out earlier, but you do have a V-mount option right here. So you can see I've got 150 watt V-mount powering it right now. So I can literally take this anywhere I want on set. It's completely transportable. And if you're in a situation where you're in a little more located situation, you can actually just have an AC power supply right here. And this is really nice because I use this a lot when I know I'm in a studio and I'm not gonna be moving much and I don't wanna worry about batteries. Another thing I really like about this, you can see I've got this wireless transmitter right here. I'm gonna pop this off just to point it. It does come with a little cheese plate right here. This is just really appreciated because if you have something like this, you're gonna definitely want to be able to mount your wireless transmission systems here on this, and this just comes with it, which is a really nice little tool to have. And as you can see, I just took this little tilt-to-L bracket and attached it here so I can easily put everything on there without thinking twice about it. Now, as I said, this thing does have these sturdy feet, which is great if you want to put this on a mask, you know, maybe as a production monitor or DIT situation. But what's also nice is it does have this mounting option right here, which does allow you to mount this either on a combo stand and roll it around a studio, which is by far my preferred way to do that. I'll put a link down below to what I like to do, which is basically an impact baby combo stand that has a little baby pin that pops out, makes it super portable. Combined with all this together gives you a perfect combination to take you in almost any environment you need a production monitor. Now, those are the physical dimensions and aspects of this monitor, but what really starts to set it about that I like, especially in this new updated OC navigation system, are the tools that come inside the software and OS of this actual monitor itself. All right, so this thing has a lot of cool little tricks up its sleeve. Go ahead and take a look at here in the software. Now, the first thing you gotta know is because this joystick is here, this is really the heart and soul of getting around to it. And what I love about this, if you spend 10 minutes with this, you're gonna be able to navigate this thing in the dark, no problem. It's just very, very intuitive. Now, one thing about this joystick to know is that this thing has a lot of functions in it as well. You can click it up and down and left, right, but you can also click and turn it. Now, the tools on this thing are very helpful and really much right in line with what you'd expect from a more professional grade monitor. Now, if I click left, I'll bring up my tools here. And what I love here is, as you can see, these are my tools. You can see them all lined up here. You see this plus sign here. I can have up to 8 tools a page on this monitor. And what's cool about that, I'm not limited to just one page. If you dial through, you'll actually see I can have up to 3 pages. So this is my first page, my second page, and my third page. So that means that if you're in a situation like this, you can sit there and have up to 8 tools that you regularly use right at the touch of your button. In addition to that, you actually have hot buttons here for the top 4 on there. So for instance, on this one, if I want to bring up, say, I'll hit F3, and that can bring up all of my scopes all in one thing if I want that in one, if I want to do that. Or let's say I just want to do, say, false color, I can do that. And I can customize this per page. So if you look right here, see I've got this false color up on this screen. I don't want to have that up, but I don't want to have that too much. I can just dial right through. And now I'm back in another set. Maybe I want to say this page that I want to have, say, a center marker on, and maybe I want to see just a small waveform. I'll put that on there, and if you look, what happens, I can just go there and I can dial in between these super fast. So there is my false color, and then if I want to come back, I can see it with the crosshatch. And on there, I can just customize this and set this up. Having those 24 tools available to you pretty much means that when you're on set, you're not gonna have to find yourself dancing and going through the menu system to get the things that you want. If you click up on it, it's gonna basically, look at this, it gives me a zoom in. It can zoom up to 4 times on an image. And what I like is I go to 2 times, because I can dial it, I can actually use this now, and I can, if I click on it, it'll let me move around my image to find something. So if there's something specifically in your image you wanna look at, you can kind of dial around and scroll around there if not. And then when you wanna get back on it, you can just click on there, and now you can just come right back out. I'm gonna click on that, and now I can come back out, and I'm right back at my normal image. Really, really nice feature. And if I click down on this, the other thing is, it'll bring up my menu options right up here, and this is where you can see a lot of the heart of what we have here of the actual monitor itself. And this gives you a lot of just a really clean, nice user interface that I really like. And if you look here, you can do things like display rotate. You can decide if you have a color management thing, if it's going to be before or after the LUT, which I really thought was a really, really nice feature to have based on how your workflow is and how you want to do the color management. You can do your status display. So this will do things like, right now I have it clean, but maybe you want to see the battery if you have a V mount, or maybe you want to see where your HDMI signal is and what color space you're in. You can sit there and do that as well. And now here's one thing that I absolutely love that I was talking about, which is this signal format. So if I click on that, you're gonna see here that, look at this. I have 422 10-bit, 422 12-bit, 444 10-bit, and 444 12-bit. This is amazing to have that many color options here on this monitor, especially when you combine the color calibration. It gives you a really, really powerhouse monitor that you know is gonna have super, super accurate and good colors. And this is one that I absolutely love, and this is the load user LUT. So if you look, remember you have this USB-A slot on the slide, you can then load your custom LUTs. And as you can see, you can load up to 10 LUTs in here. And like I have my custom C-Log 3 Cinematone base because I use my Canon R5C and my R5 II and R5 so much. And what I really like about this is that if you have a LUT that you work on your computer, you can load it here onto this monitor, and you know that what you're seeing on this monitor is what it's gonna look like when you come home and work on your computer. Another little aspect that I think is just very ergonomically well designed is if you look, it's got an input button right here on the front. And what I like about that is I can just hit that, and look, it instantly brings up my SDI or my HDMI. I can just cycle through that super fast and get super quickly to the input I want. I don't have to go and dive in any sub-menus to get what I want. And in addition to this thing does have audio. It's got a jack right there, and it does have time code. So in case that is one of those things that you need. Now there is one aspect to know about this monitor, and that is the fact that it does not come with the case. That is important. It does come with a foam cutout for Pelican Case 1600, and it slips right in it, but that is just be aware, if you get this, you may have to get either a Pelican 1600 or you're going to have to basically buy another option. Now, whenever I do a review, I always like to point out what I consider any rooms of improvement, just so you fully know exactly what you're getting and not getting in any system. Now, the first thing I would point out, just so you're aware of, is just be aware of that lack of a case. The foam is really nice. It fits it great once you get in there, but you are gonna have to get a case. That was not a big problem for me personally, because I found 2 options just in case you're wondering. The first one is I was able to go on eBay and get a Pelican 1600 case for 85 bucks. I used one. They last forever and it worked great. That's what I'm using for this. The other option I have is I actually have, this is another OC monitor that I have because I love them. I actually have an iMac carrying case that I have that I can use to carry this one around too. This one was pretty darn cheap. I think it was like 30, 40 bucks. It wasn't that expensive. I'll put a link down below if you want to have that. But I did find this was another good option if you didn't want to get a Pelican case and wanted something smaller than a Pelican 1600. And really the only other area I would see as a potential room for improvement for this monitor would be, it's not really room for improvement because the price point on this thing, it's not something I would expect, but just be aware, you can only input one signal at a time. So if you want to do like a big multicam monitor, that's not what this is for. But anyway, guys, this is one of those things that I think if you invest in it, this is one of the best products I've personally come across and reviewed. It makes such a big difference on a set. I cannot speak highly enough about this. I'm not being paid by these people for anything. I just genuinely believe this is a fantastic product. But anyway, guys, I'd love to hear what you have to say about this. Let me know in the comments down below. And yeah, go out there, keep on shooting. And yeah, I'll talk to you soon.